Third Judge's Case, 1998, Presidential Reference. The Third Judge's Case, 1998, arose when the President of India sought the advisory opinion of the Supreme Court of India under Article 143 of the Constitution. The purpose was to clarify doubts regarding the interpretation of the Second Judge's Case, 1993, especially about the meaning of consultation and the composition of the collegium in judicial appointments. Background. After the Second Judge's Case, the collegium system was introduced, giving primacy to the judiciary. However, ambiguity remained on whether the Chief Justice of India, CJI, should act individually or collectively, and how many judges should be consulted. To remove this confusion, the President made a presidential reference to the Supreme Court. Issues before the Court, Third Judge's Case, 1998. Presidential reference under Article 143. In the Third Judge's Case, 1998, the Supreme Court of India was required to answer specific constitutional questions referred by the President of India to clarify doubts arising from the Second Judge's Case, 1993. The main issue before the court was whether the opinion of the Chief Justice of India, CJI, in judicial appointments should be individual or collective. The court had to decide whether the CJI could act alone or must consult other senior judges while recommending names. Another important issue was the exact meaning and scope of the word consultation used in Articles 124 and 217 of the Constitution. The court had to clarify how many judges the CJI must consult and whether such consultation was mandatory. The court also examined the composition and size of the collegium for appointment of Supreme Court judges and appointment and transfer of High Court judges. A further issue was whether disagreement among judges of the collegium could prevent an appointment, and if so, how much weight should be given to dissenting opinions within the collegium. Thus, the Third Judge's Case focused on clarifying the working structure of the collegium system, ensuring collective decision-making, preventing arbitrariness, and strengthening the independence of the judiciary within the constitutional framework. Judgment Decision. In the Third Judge's Case, 1998, the Supreme Court of India gave a clear and authoritative interpretation of the collegium system to remove ambiguities left after the Second Judge's Case, 1993. The court held that the Chief Justice of India, CJI, does not act individually, but must form his opinion collectively in consultation with senior judges. The court ruled that for the appointment of judges to the Supreme Court, the collegium shall consist of the Chief Justice of India and the 4 senior-most judges of the Supreme Court. For appointments to high courts, the collegium shall consist of the CJI and the 2 senior-most judges of the Supreme Court, along with consultation at the High Court level. The Supreme Court further held that consultation must be meaningful and effective, and not a mere formality. If 2 judges of the collegium give an adverse opinion against a proposed name, the appointment should not be made. This ensured that appointments are based on collective judicial wisdom and not the personal choice of the CJI. The court also clarified that the executive, government, may ask the collegium to reconsider its recommendation once. However, if the collegium reiterates the recommendation, it becomes binding on the government, and the appointment must be made. The judgment in the Third Judge's Case, 1998, gave the final shape and structure to the collegium system. By emphasizing collective decision-making, consultation, and binding reiteration, the Supreme Court strengthened judicial independence and ensured transparency and fairness in the appointment of judges, making this case a cornerstone of India's judicial appointment process. Significance. The Third Judge's Case, 1998, is highly significant because it gave the final and authoritative shape to the collegium system of judicial appointments in India. By clearly defining the composition of the collegium, the Supreme Court of India removed ambiguities that existed after the Second Judge's Case and ensured certainty and uniformity in the appointment process. One of the most important contributions of this judgment was the emphasis on collective decision-making. The court ruled that the Chief Justice of India cannot act alone and must consult senior judges. This reduced the risk of arbitrariness or personal bias and strengthened the principle of institutional integrity within the judiciary. The judgment also reinforced judicial independence, a basic feature of the Constitution, by limiting executive dominance in judicial appointments. At the same time, it maintained a constitutional balance by allowing the government to seek reconsideration once, while making a reiterated recommendation binding. Further, by providing that adverse opinions of senior judges can block appointments, the case ensured that only candidates with broad judicial consensus are appointed. This enhanced credibility, transparency, and public confidence in the judiciary. The third judge's case is significant because it completed the evolution of the collegium system, safeguarded judicial independence, and established a stable, collective, and constitutionally balanced mechanism for appointing judges, making it a cornerstone of Indian constitutional law. Conclusion. The third judge's case, 1998, completed the evolution of the collegium system in India. By expanding and clearly defining the collegium, the Supreme Court ensured that judicial appointments are made through a transparent collective process, reinforcing the independence and integrity of the judiciary.